Welcome to Hops News, the trusted source in beer culture news. Here's your host, Jay Brew, with special guests, the Hoppy Mommy, Lucky, and Mash.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Hops News. Man, we've got a great episode for you guys this evening. Just real quick, we'll tell you who we've got coming on and kind of what's going to happen this evening. So we've got Marcos, the head brewer, and I believe there's probably some ownership in that situation as well, from Loose Screw Beer Company out in Idaho, is going to come on and tell us a little bit about what they're doing as a brewery and the work they do with the Idaho Foodbank. Looking forward to hearing from those guys and raising a little bit of money. So that'll be coming up here shortly. We also are going to talk about the bomber jacket giveaway as always, so stick around. It sounds like people's cracking beer already too, so I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit of beer. We'll also give a pretty unique, well, I don't think this one's a bomber jacket. That one's not a bomber jacket out there in Idaho, but we definitely have a koozie that's kind of fitting for our theme tonight. So we'll give away a koozie as always. We're going to go to Hop School. We're going to talk a little bit of hops news, a little bit of interesting news I read about earlier this week. That was we tried to bring them on. They weren't interested in making an appearance, but we'll definitely talk about them. And we'll check in with the host. Let's check in with the host now. That was Hoppy out there that was kind of giggling in the background. She must have been the one to break open the beer. Hoppy, how's things going in Florida?
Oh, things are going. Things are opening up, and people are acting like Prohibition is over. A lot of the places, though, are being good. They're wearing masks. We're on phase 2, but South Florida is still in a timeout. So, yes, I did crack open a beer.
What are you sipping on down there?
I'm actually drinking one from Mash. It's an Idaho beer. It's Land of Many Waters. It's a hazy IPA from Grand Teton Brewing. Is that how I say it?
Yep, Grand Teton.
Pretty sweet label there.
Awesome.
Sonia, I never wanted to visit Idaho so much until we started talking beer and him texting pictures and all this. So now it's on my to-do list.
Yeah, once you start talking to somebody from a different place like that, and Mash has really been selling some Idaho beer, so, and he's been slinging the hell out of it. We probably got a case each of Idaho beer by now, so looking forward to sampling those. Speaking of Mash, let's go out to Idaho and check in with our very own Mash. I didn't change it. He's actually in Idaho. That was a mix up there. He's not in Yellowstone anymore, but he is.
I wish.
He is in Idaho, back home, doing the thing. What's going on out there in Idaho today, Mash?
What is up, good people? I'm super stoked. The next 3 weeks, we have some Idaho breweries coming on today. Loose Screw. I gotta say, when I first moved out here, a little weary. I was a bit of a beer snob coming from what I considered a craft beer hub out there in Boston, but man, they've been proving me wrong. I cracked open, actually, they didn't realize they named a beer after me, Mashable Maniac. Loose Screw right here, they're Mashable Maniac. Oh, super, super smooth. I gotta say, I'm wicked impressed, and I'm super stoked that Marcos is here today. I had a chance to talk with him. Really cool guy.
You got somebody hanging out over your right shoulder there, too, with you tonight.
I do. I have a baby Yoda, I had to bring him out for a special appearance. Figured draw some more people in, let them know he's here.
That's awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate you spreading the word of Hops News out there in Idaho and managing the lineup. I think you got about the next 3 weeks lined up with Idaho Brewery, so I'm pretty excited about that. Yep. And definitely looking forward to trying that next package you sent this way. So appreciate that. Let's go check in with Lucky up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Kind of the beer, I would say that's kind of the start of beer, right? In the U.S. Oh, yeah. We might need to get schooled on that, Hoppy. Why don't you find out let's do a little history lesson on Milwaukee and beer for one of these episodes, because I believe that in the history of beer, our very own Lucky is probably at the mecca of it. I would definitely be interested to find that out. Lucky, how's it going up there in Milwaukee?
It's going well, man. Kind of like Hoppy, things are starting to open up here. Today, actually, my apartment's pool opened up, which if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have thought would have never happened this summer. So that's kind of exciting. I haven't gotten a chance to use it, but it happened just today. Other than that, nothing. Just been a hectic couple of weeks, but I'm glad to be back here. It feels like a month since I've talked to you guys last. I don't know if that happens for you guys too, but like these weeks just seem to be dragging.
Yeah, I say that I know it sounds like we're exaggerating a little bit, but we will literally start planning next episode as soon as we hit the finish live button tonight. We'll probably chat another 30 to 45 minutes, and that doesn't help because the time definitely drags by. So, yeah, I can definitely relate to that, Lucky. That doesn't look like a Wisconsin Badger jacket you have on. What is it that you're wearing there?
No, this is where my little brother goes to school. He goes to UW Eau Claire, and he plays football for them. They're just a D3 school up in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. But they have, I believe, Leinenkugel's brewery is right around there. I haven't gone to it yet, but I love Leinenkugel's beer. I don't know if I sent you guys any of that, but that'll be in one of the care packages coming up soon.
Nice.
Yeah, UW Eau Claire, go Golds, or Roll Golds, maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Nice. What are you drinking on up there?
I've got one you sent me. This is called Roots. It's a cider. Oh yeah. This is satirical because if anyone I work with is watching, I would never drink during work, but I've been drinking since like 2 o'clock. So.
That's awesome.
So that's a joke, but yeah. So I've got something a little lighter right now. Gonna tap into the IPAs a little later. So
it's a joke, but not really.
If anyone's watching, it's definitely a joke.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we'll go back to the main view again, and I do apologize for kind of narrating what we're doing here, but we're still technology's still catching up, and Skype isn't cooperating like they used to. So back here, it's good to see everybody. I'm glad everybody's got a solid drink in their hand. I actually coming off another call earlier until I was interrupted. pH experiment. I don't know if anybody can see that, but it says sample use only, not for resale. You know, when you get a package sent like that, it's going to be some tasty stuff. And it's a staycation from pH experiment out there on the West Coast. Those guys are doing good things, and we're a part of what they're doing, trying to create some new products and that sort of thing. So that was good to talk to them. We're going to have here in just a few minutes after we get done talking to Loose Screw Beer, we're going to talk a little bit about our Patreon movement that we started last Friday and kind of the importance of it and what it's done for us so far. Also, it'd be remiss not to remind everybody we've got the Idaho Foodbank donation button up, and let's see if Marcos is still on the line. We tried something that was a little bit different. They threw a curveball at me tonight by calling in 2 different people tonight, but let's see if he's out there. Marcos and Chris, can either one of you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Who's that we have on the phone?
This is Marcos.
Awesome, Marco.
To be here with us as well.
Cool. So, Marco, we appreciate you taking the time and joining us tonight. Tell us a little bit. First, we'd like to hear about what your background is and what got you started in the beer, and then start to tell us a little bit about the brewery that you're with, Loose Screw Beer out there in Idaho.
So I got started in craft beer, like many, just drinking it. When I turned 21, I'd lived. I guess where I was living was near this place, a craft beer bar called Brewphoria. It's in Meridian, Idaho. And I just kind of stumbled upon it one day, actually. My car was in the shop, and I was hungry. I needed something to eat. I had my longboard with me. So I went out venturing to find something, because where there was places around, but I just moved there, so I didn't really know what's around. And I remember it very well. I come longboarding around this corner, and I see this giant lit up sign, and it says Brewphoria, and I just roll past it, and I'm just staring at it, and I had no idea what it was, but I knew I wanted to go in there. So I went in there, and the probably 10, 12 beers on tap, and all sorts of bottles and cans and coolers from all over. And I think I spent a good part of the day there, just trying different things. And that was really my first introduction into craft beer. From there, it was trying everything I could try, finding out what I liked and didn't like, and eventually was able to find a bartending job at a local brewery. Used to be what was Hoppy Brewing, and I had a full-time job, and I was just decided to do this as kind of a side thing, being interested in craft beer. I was like, why not? Let's work at a 10 bar and work at a brewery, and that's pretty much where it started. It's worked my way up from there. Had an opportunity to start helping out the head brewer. He had an assistant who went away, so I just asked, if he needed any help, I would love to learn and give a hand. And the rest of it from there is all uphill. I started off like many, washing kegs and doing the grunt work, cleaning and disinfecting and stuff like that. And I didn't really think at that time that it was something that I wanted to do, to keep pursuing. It was just, I knew there was an opportunity there to try and see if I liked it and maybe take it somewhere. And as time progressed and I kept doing it and learning more and becoming more involved, it really became a labor of love for me. And I recognized that where I was at was a good place to be. The brewer that was there, he brewed all over, a lot of experience and knowledge. So I just learned what I could from him, but I knew eventually that he was really taking off. He'd expressed interest in moving to California and going back where he came from. And so I knew that if I stuck it out there and stayed there, I could potentially be a head brewer someday. Getting into the industry, I realized how hard that actually is to do. That there's so many people that want to be in that industry, and there's not a lot of opportunities, unless you're willing to move. But that wasn't an option for me at that time. So, and so eventually the brewery changed hands into a couple of different ownerships, and with one of those changes of ownership, they decided to kind of promote me and let me become the head brewer, and here I am now with Loose Screw.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about the brewery. Kind of what's your styles? What are you guys doing? What is what are you known for? What do the local beer drinkers, craft beer drinkers, know Loose Screw Beer Company for?
So one of the beers we're definitely known for is a blueberry white chocolate, Ghirardelli white chocolate porter.
Ooh,
it's kind of a higher gravity, 8.5%. It's about 124 pounds of blueberry puree in there. And that's a beer that we've been brewing at that location, even under previous ownership. And it's one that basically made the cut. When we transitioned over into Loose Screw, I think that was really the only beer that we continue to do or keep doing. And since being Loose Screw, I've had the opportunity to come up with brand new recipes. A whole new lineup. Chris has been kind of nice because he's actually requested things. Beforehand, it was just whatever I wanted to brew, which is cool. But when Chris and Bethany came in, the owners now, and had some actual requests, like I would like this style, or I want you to use this ingredient. Like, it was fun to have that kind of direction and challenge instead of just doing whatever. And so right now, the blueberry white chocolate is definitely something we're known for, and everything else on the tap list is pretty much a first time recipe. I think I just brewed, I guess what would be our IPA, kind of a West Coast style IPA, for the second time last week. And then besides that, everything else is all brand new. And a lot of it came out during this COVID. Right before that happened, I've been working on some recipes. We have a really nice 15-gallon pilot system, all SS equipment set up to SS, and it's temperature controlled, stainless steel, all electric. And it's something that we can produce high quality small batch beer on, and I feel comfortable selling it to the public. We had a system before, but it just wasn't that great, and it wasn't anything that I ever wanted to sell to anybody. Maybe just give away samples, but yeah, before that happened, I worked using that and working out those recipes, and then the COVID hit, and at that time I was ready to scale up a lot of those recipes to our full 7-barrel system. So throughout the week during the pandemic, I was able to release a lot of these new beers, and that's what people are able to enjoy right now is what I had been working on. And the Max Maniac that Max took home was one of those beers. It's an all Citra based pale ale. It's a hoppy pale.
It's delicious.
But yeah, straight Citra. Nothing else in that guy.
I think that's my favorite hop. Citra is just so good.
I think I'll have to pick up some more of this for you guys to send out that way.
Well, and if you happen to see that blueberry white chocolate beer is deli.
I didn't see that yesterday.
Please,
I think I scanned too fast. Do you guys have any of that brewed up?
We do. Yeah, it's called the Loopy Love.
I will be there this weekend.
So in Idaho, what are the, you mentioned a West Coast IPA. Do in Idaho, do they favor more of the West Coast? Because over here in Florida, we're getting a lot of the hazies is what everybody seems to like.
West Coast is definitely the most popular, and until the hazies made their appearance, now that's our number one seller. Beforehand, it was definitely kind of a West Coast style, hoppy, bitter beer. But we do a beer called the Huey Hog. And that is another beer that we were doing in the past that we've continued to do, albeit tweaking the recipe a little bit here and there. But the hazy style, the New England style, hands down, is our best seller. And anywhere can say that. You go to any brewery and ask them what their best seller is, and if they do a hazy, it's going to be a hazy. If you go to a beer bar and look at their tap list, the New England style is probably going to have more than any other style. So it has taken over here, to say the least. But people still like the bitterness. So the West Coast high bitter, high IBU style is still here. But yeah, they can't get enough of them here.
I'm not gonna lie, I jumped on that bandwagon too. I love the hazy IPAs. They're delicious.
I got called a haze bro for the first time because I'm all about the hazy IPAs. I'd never heard that until yesterday.
Really? You've never heard that? Oh, there's even beers called. I think I had one on one of the shows that the guy had a tattoo on his arm called, and it said Haze Boy. It was it was from Tactical. It was MRE Hop Soup.
Mm-hmm.
So Marcos, tell us a little bit about the relationship and the work that you guys do for Idaho Foodbank. We know that's an important organization for you out there, and I'd be remiss not to remind the viewers again, Idaho Foodbank, the donation button is set up for them. I think we're going to, what do you say we give a random drawing to somebody that donates again tonight? I think that worked out in our favor and obviously the nonprofit's favor last week. So if you want to be involved, MASH, let's go back out. Let's real quick go back out to MASH and let's see that koozie that MASH has out there. This is definitely Idaho-ish.
Get a little Darth Tater action.
Potato.
Yeah.
When you said that before, I did not put that together.
Got a little has a little bottle opener on it. Look, you're somewhere, just crack the bottle open, zip it up, enjoy a nice cold one wherever you're at.
Tater, that's awesome.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So if you want to be entered into that drawing, you got to reach down into your pockets, empty out the change, the dollars, or if you're lucky, 20s, 100s, whatever you got in your pocket, put it in that jar for the Idaho Foodbank. Because I will tell you, we have not seen the full impact of what we're going to see from this pandemic that we've been going through yet. Money has been there. It's been flowing pretty freely. A lot of free money out there, but I will tell you that that is coming to an end very soon. And these food banks and every other organization that we've talked to so far on our episodes are going to be in great need for resources like we're helping with tonight. So if you have some change, I know an Idaho Food Bank that would definitely appreciate it. And if you want to be entered into that drawing for that pretty cool koozie that MASH has out there in Idaho, and that's going to be sent from Idaho. So you're getting a potato from Idaho.
I will send a potato straight with this as well. If that's what it takes to get some people to throw some $20 bills.
Yeah, let's see if we can get some money to the Idaho Food Bank, because that is a great cause that until you've had to rely on one, you truly don't appreciate. And those guys definitely, all those organizations like that, take care of people. And I can't imagine not being able to put food on the table, and can't imagine not having a resource to go get food. So, the necessities like that are definitely important. And we appreciate what Loose Screw Beer is doing with the Idaho Food Bank. Marcos, tell us a little bit about that relationship, how you guys got started with it, and some of the workings that you guys have done with Idaho Food Bank.
I mean, yeah, if you don't mind, I think I'd like to hand this one off to Chris. He's more been dealing with that than I have. Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we sure can.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, Kristen, let me take a minute and apologize real quick. We're not we're not all that tech savvy. We set up to trying to juggle two different lines on this system that we're using here, so we apologize for that to begin with. But glad you could join us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having us. So basically, I mean, kind of what happened was, when this whole COVID thing hit, it really hasn't hit Idaho as bad as it has in other places, but it's definitely affected us, and especially with unemployment and things like that. And we kind of just thought, what is something we can do where, we can kind of give back, and how can we do something that matters in a time when, a lot of other businesses are kind of wondering, how they're going to keep their doors open and things like that. And we were just in a fortunate position that we had, just recently made that transition into new ownership and rebrand and relaunch and all of that. And granted, this happening wasn't the best thing in the world for us, but we were in a position because we had already planned on, taking some time to kind of turn this thing around, that, we were able to weather this and, regardless of what happened. And so, the big thing for us was, how do we give back to the community and, all of the people that really support us. And I mean, right from the launch, we were being totally supported. People were loving what we were doing, loving the beers that Marcos is producing. And so, we wanted to do something that actually made an impact. And so what we did is we set up a partnership with the Idaho Food Bank, where we would give them 5% of sales from, I think it was like, I want to say mid-March is when it started, something like that. And, not on profit or anything like that, just a straight 5% of sales. And granted, we're a small brewery, and, things kind of slowed down a little bit once this happened. But, they say that they can provide 5 meals for every $1. And for us, we were just like, okay, we can get behind that. $1,000 is 5,000 meals. And so we guaranteed them at least $1,000. And we ran this thing from mid-March until the end of May. And basically what it was is the whole time we were shut down, essentially. And so we ended up giving them $1,000. We allowed other people to donate. We had a link on our website where people could donate straight to them. And so, we were able to collect a little bit more. But, at the end of the day, it's a great organization. And when you can say that small amount of money makes that big of an impact, it's a pretty good place to partner with.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's that is typically the case, right? We know some of the things that need to occur in our communities, and we know that sort of initiatives are needed, food pantries, food banks, those sort of things. But unless you're the expert in that, the resources that you spend to do that could be better served with an organization that's what they do. So great message there, and obviously a great organization. Do you guys hold events? What kind of fundraising events outside of the 5%, which what I will tell you is that's a huge number. I worked in the beer industry for a while, and to have 5% off the top line, that's a pretty impressive number to start with. But do you guys do any type of fundraising drives to attract your customers, to attract maybe people that just support the food bank that's not really a beer drinker but might show up and drink a beer to support the cause?
Yeah, well, we haven't yet, because obviously once this started, we had to shut down the tap room, and so we couldn't bring anybody in to say, hey, come in and drink some beer and we're going to donate, even more, or you can donate or whatnot. But throughout the year, we will hold events, especially around, the times when the need's the highest, like right now, obviously, is when we're going to make more of a kind of a notice about it.
Right.
That makes sense. Hey, whenever you guys do start doing that, I'll do my diligence, at least out here, since I'm fortunate enough to be close to you guys, to really push that out. I know a lot of people who would love to get involved in something like that, so I'll keep my eye out for sure.
Yeah, we'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, and Chris and Marcos out there supporting the Idaho Foodbank. That is the donation button tonight, and if you want to be entered into that, let's head back out to Mash so he can show us that pretty cool koozie he's got out there. If you want to be entered in that drawing tonight, you got to drop some change in that bucket. And if you're like Lucky, do not be cheap. Come off that wallet, put some money in that.
Baby Yoda sold separately.
Yeah, put some money into the bucket and support the Idaho Foodbank, because those guys are doing real work that we can't do as efficiently as they can. So drop some money off in that bucket for them and help a great cause. Chris and Marcos, one of the questions that we ask all the breweries, if the four of us walked into your tap room and bellied up to the bar, what is it that you're going to pour us?
I'll let Marcos take that one first.
I'll probably pour you whatever's new, or whatever, whether it be off of the 7-barrel system, or off of our 15-gallon, maybe something I've been experimenting with on there. But that's typically what I gravitate towards too, whatever's new. And I guess I'll have a tea beer coming out soon. I did a kind of an American wheat style beer with some rooibos tea with ginger and lime. So yeah,
that sounds pretty interesting.
Good.
Now, do you always have the blueberry white chocolate one on draft, or is that seasonal, or how often can you get that one?
That one is year-round. Yeah, it sells so well that it makes sense to keep it on all the time.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, I will. I'll tell you all right now. If I'm recommending anything, I am in love with the Mashable Maniac. It is fantastic. It's probably one of the better beers I've had out here in Idaho. Not just saying that. Like I've been to a lot of different breweries. This one's definitely amazing. So thank you for doing what you guys do over there.
I think you're biased because it's named after you. So
well,
I mean, he's even wearing the hat too.
It's named after me. I'm ripping the logo. Look, you guys need someone to go out and stand on the corner and flip sign. Give me a call. I will do it any day.
Yeah.
He works for beer. No, I even love the name of the loose screw. And when I went to your website, I love the description of just, all the oddballs and all this. It's like that's who we want here, and I loved that.
I do have a quick question. A lot of people don't know this, but you guys had rebranded from Bella Brewing, which I didn't realize at first. Do you mind talking about that real quick? What led to the rebrand? Is it something you guys chose to do on your own, or because that was one I didn't realize at first that you guys had rebranded? So I'm interested to hear a little about that real quick.
Yeah, I'll take that one. So when the opportunity came up for us to come in and take ownership of the brewery, I personally didn't like the name or the branding, or most of the beer. No, nothing with Marcos or anything at all. He had been brewing recipes that had been around for a long time and really hadn't had the freedom to kind of go off on his own and do what he wanted to do. And so for us to come in, my background, my wife's background is in business and marketing. And so we needed to make that switch. So Blue Screw, that name just came up. We wanted to come up with something fun, something where people could just relate, kind of just chill out for a little bit. The world's so serious all the time. Let's just have a good time and roll
absolutely.
with it. But branding and marketing is such a huge thing. And then also the beer. And so that was, one of the things that we looked at when we came in. And I don't know hardly anything about the brewing process, but I know what I like in craft beer. And Marcos has proven to be an exceptional brewer when you allow him to do what he's good at doing. I mean, one of my favorite beers, well, I have two favorite beers right now that he's just brought out, and one is the Hacky Hophead, and the other one is the Flock Fokker, which is what he just released, an oatmeal stout.
Wait, what was that? The Flock Fokker?
Flock Fokker, yeah. And so
I like it.
This is a PG show.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, we watched Meet the Parents last night, actually, so that's very, very on point. Okay.
So the big thing was we wanted a complete shift. It was essentially we came in and bought the assets to the brewery, knowing that we were going to completely redo the whole thing. And Marcos, I was just able to say, hey, this is what I want the beer to be like, and go for it. And the IPA, I'm an IPA guy mostly, and I got to tell you, he nailed it for me. I love that beer.
Nice.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Yeah, I got to say, like, all the names, I'm sold on the names and the colors of the cans. Are you guys going to be able to buy these in stores out here locally? I know a lot of breweries. There's Brewers Haven. There's a couple others that you can buy a lot of the Boise Brewing beers at. Is that something you guys are going to be doing soon as well?
Yeah, so part of our whole kind of relaunch, and really the main purpose for selling point for us to come in and buy the brewery was obviously we want it to grow. So going into distribution, we're in some restaurants and bars and things like that right now, but in terms of groceries, we definitely want to get in there. But that's also part of our kind of rebrand, because what we're going to end up doing is each of these beers that have these names are going to have their own character. And so each can is going to be branded off of that character. And just, we're really going to put a lot of effort into that. And so once you go and see it on the shelves in the store, they're just something that stands out, and you see them. And then on top of that, when you open it up and you drink it, you're going to be like, damn, that's a freaking good beer. So we hope,
That's how I felt
and our
tonight.
plan is, our plan is by the end of the year that we hopefully have a few beers in grocery.
Awesome. Well, I'm definitely looking out for that. Nothing beats quite like coming to the brewery, so I'm glad right now, at least in Idaho, we're fortunate enough, like you said, hasn't hit us too hard that we can come out and be able to do that. So I'll be making sure I spread the word, and I'll be out there. I'm sure I'll see y'all soon.
Nice. We appreciate it.
Yeah, so just real quick, somebody said in the chat that the button wasn't showing up. Check it again. I reset it, so if it wasn't there, check it again. Sometimes, let's check it one more time. Facebook is giving us some problems today. We've been having a problem with the donate button. Yeah, it's showing it on our end.
Now. It is there now. I just donated, so
Perfect.
should be good.
Oh, there we got Lucky getting off the wallet.
There we are.
Hey.
That's a koozie, that's why.
I
Hey.
didn't get the one last week, so I'm gonna get better luck this week.
Yeah, Lucky's
Oh, you gotta
wanting
close
to.
the window, okay.
Somebody said you got to close it and reopen it. So go ahead and shut us off for a brief moment and then open us back up and check it out. Obviously, we're not immune to technical issues with Facebook and every other platform. So speaking of that, this is our first night. These guys are, man, we're breaking out the big guns tonight for Loose Screw Brewing out there in Idaho, or Loose Screw Beer Company out there in Idaho. We're on YouTube tonight. We're also streaming via Periscope to Twitter and also on Facebook. So trying to step up our reach. If you're viewing, there's a few viewers showing up on YouTube. If you're viewing over there, to donate, you have to come to the Facebook page. Obviously, one thing that these technology companies haven't figured out is how to work together. But we're trying to take care of that for them. So if you're interested, hop on over to the Facebook page at Hops News. You'll see the donate button up there now to provide some resources to the Idaho Foodbank. And I will tell you, there is no greater cause than giving money to a food bank. I mean, it is money that is going to put food on the table for somebody or some family. And I will say this, we have a good time, but just me personally, when we get done at night and I see how much money, even though it's a really small amount now, but I know if we can continue to be consistent and continue to have the supporters that we do, we'll be able to grow this reach. But just to get off this at the end of every episode and see how much money was donated back is a great feeling. And it's been really great to partner up with the breweries and the nonprofits that we've worked with so far. I will say that as an episode, we've got about $421 in the change in the bucket for these nonprofits that we worked with. But as an organization, there's a lot of stuff that we do on our personal time outside of Hops News and helping other organizations do some streaming content. And as an organization and knowing and taking the skill sets that we have to go and help other companies and other nonprofits stream, last night we helped an organization raise over $6,000 in just a streaming event. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I know what's possible, and I will tell you, just a little bit of time that we get to spend together every week and see what we can give back is pretty impressive. But we're not finished, and that was the start of the whole Patreon movement, was to help us get some more resources ourselves, so we continue to grow the reach that we do and provide more resources for these organizations that we're featuring. Marcos and Chris, any last words you want to tell us about Loose Screw Beer Company there in Idaho before we let you gentlemen get back to you're probably still making some beer out there. You might not be, it's probably not quitting time like it is here on the East Coast, but any last words, anything you want to share with the us and the viewers before we let you go here?
I think it'd be a good idea for Chris to tell him about the Meridian location, or new satellite taproom location that we're opening up.
Oh yeah, and I'm not going to interrupt. I don't mean to interrupt Chris, but I'll just let the viewers know this was announced after they announced their appearance on Hops News. So I will tell you, when you get on Hops News, yeah, that is definitely some breaking news. You've heard it here first. You get on Hops News and it is game over. You better have another place to move to. But Chris, tell us about the move there.
Yeah, so that move is part of our strategy for growth and getting into distribution. And the location we chose was specifically done for the opportunity to grow brand awareness. And so it's going to be a really good spot, tap room only, like Marco said. Nice big outdoor space. We're not going to be doing food or anything like that, but on the opposite side of the patio that we have is going to be a full restaurant, lunch, dinner, even breakfast. But it's in a suburb that the breweries around here haven't really gone into yet. It seems like most of them are focused on the Garden City area, which is where we're at right now, and also downtown Boise. Meridian is a good suburb just outside of it, just borders Boise, and there's a lot of people there who like great craft beer and want a place they can walk or ride their bike to, and so that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, and it's good to see good breweries out there spreading the word and being able to grow like that. So definitely appreciate hearing that, and love seeing you guys being able to grow like that off of what you guys are doing. Chris, Marcos, keep doing what you guys are doing. We definitely appreciate your time this evening, and couldn't ask for a better organization to be supporting out there in Idaho than a food bank that I will tell you, they haven't seen the worst of it yet. It's going to come for them. So definitely appreciate what you guys are doing, and thanks for coming out there. If I ever able to get out that way, I will tell you, Idaho, that whole MASH, I'm very jealous of where MASH is calling home these days, because that's an area of the country that I have yet to explore on the ground, and definitely want to do that. So appreciate you guys joining us, Chris, Marcos, and if I ever am able to make it in out there, we will stop in and drink a couple of Loose Screw beers for sure.
I'm sure they'll see me plenty. So cheers, guys. Thank you so much.
Cheers to the crazy ones.
To the crazy ones, to the Loose Screws.
Yeah.
No, I actually want to say something real quick about the whole food pantry. Actually, first I want to say it's not Baby Yoda, it's the child. Let's get that.
I know correct. It's the child.
Okay. You know. Not everybody does. But as far as the food pantries, I feel like it's double extra important right now because, one, so many people are suffering because of COVID, but also, I don't know if I'm assuming they do this all over the country. At my daughter's school, they would have a food pantry, and a lot of the kids that parents couldn't afford food, they would bring food home from the school. Well, obviously, if these kids haven't been in school for 3 months, it's an extra necessity. So, you know, not only is it extra important because of COVID, but it's double extra because they're not getting, you know, anything right now. So.
Yep, that's actually, so they've been talking about that here. Part of the Idaho Foodbank, they do donate to a lot of the schools and things like that. And school's been out, and a lot of people don't realize, you know, school's out, some kids may not get a meal, and some of that meal does come from the food bank. So it's an excellent organization to be a part of, and it's a really big hot topic right now here in Boise as well. So if anything helps, anything at all, let's make it happen.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. People really don't understand some of these kids that are in schools. That's the best meal that they're going to get all day. And a lot of these schools now have been out for a while. So it's a great cause. The donation button should be working if you're watching on our Twitter or on our YouTube account. Hop on over to our Facebook page and just drop some change in there, really. I mean, it is a great cause. And let's go check out the koozie that you're going to be entered to win out there in Mountain Home, Idaho. A great koozie. I believe I hear some beer popping. Who's popping beer?
Oh, there's beer popping. All three of us.
Let's
go.
We got a couple zombie dusts.
Let's run down to Florida. Let's see what's going on in Orlando.
I am opening the same thing Mash just opened that came from Lucky. This has been a bucket list beer for me for a while. Zombie Dust from Three Floyds. So I had to put it in my Free the Whales glass, but I got too excited, so there's too much head.
That's what usually happens. Who else pop one? Did Lucky pop one?
We all popped the Zombie Dust, I believe, because I wanted to do this with you guys. I think I don't know if I know I told you guys this story in the chat, but I don't know if I told you guys like on one of the Hoppy Hours. So one of my ex-girlfriend a while back, when I first started getting into beer, it was her uncle gave me this beer and talked about it like it was liquid gold. He said that he would like take the cases and like the bottles and he would like resell them on eBay or something to like people that were obsessed with Zombie Dust because it was so rare, whatever. And so the first time I had it, I was like freshly 21, and I wasn't really into IPAs, so I didn't like it at all, and I think I crushed them when I said that. But now I found this recently, and I sent it to you guys. There was a bunch of it at one of my local liquor stores. It's the first time I've ever seen it other than that time, so I want to drink it with you guys because it has definitely aged well, and the more that I've gotten into beer, this is one of my favorite IPAs now. I mean, just having it recently, so I wanted to see what you guys think and drink it with you guys if you got it.
I like it. I'm trying to.
Yeah, sorry, you go ahead. I think it's
I was freshening my palate up so I could get a better taste of it, because it's hard when you go, this is my third IPA tonight.
Yeah.
But no, this is good. I mean, the color's great. It looks like more of like a West Coast. It's very light and easy drinking for an IPA.
It is. Yes, I'll agree with that. This is something that I was also excited for, because, you talked it up. And I'm not disappointed at all. First of all, I'm a sucker for can art again, and zombies and the whole horror theme is one of my favorite aspects, just genres of film in general. And so I was super excited for this. It's, nice and smooth. You get a little hops taste in there. It's not too overbearing at all.
Right. And Three Floyds in general, like I got to go to the brewery in Denmark. I mention this every chance I get. That collabs with Mikkeller. And all those beers were amazing, and so I actually have a Three Floyds like heavy stout in my fridge that I just got. That I'm super like. If you had told me a few months ago I was going to have 2 different style of Three Floyds in my fridge, I'd have been like, no. So this is amazing.
Hey, that's the beauty of the group of people that we have here, and I've said this before, right? And I'll say it again. My measly beer selection in our Patreon group is, man, I almost feel ashamed for even posting that on there for the beer selection that these 3 have. And real quick, let's some chat that's going on the Facebook group. Jeff Raymond is a school teacher and mentioned the importance of school meals for kids. Just kind of reiterating the importance of this food bank that we're donating to tonight. So if you're capable and if you're able to, go ahead and drop some change in that bucket for the Idaho Foodbank, because I know it's going to go to a good cause. We've got a few listeners from all over the place tonight. Somebody just chimed in, Finn from Billerica. Is that how you say it?
It's Billerica.
Billerica?
Yeah, sorry.
Where is that at?
It's 20 minutes outside of Boston. Sorry, I get excited because that's where I'm from. That's where my family's from. In Massachusetts, you have all sorts of weird town names. People see Peabody, they think it's called Peabody. You have Worcester, which is, people think it's Worcester, things like that. So it's spelled Billerica, but yeah, you pretty much just drop that and it's Billerica.
We have a city called Taintsville, so don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Did you say Taintsville?
I did.
What?
It's because Florida man taints the rest of us.
What in the hell is going on in Florida? How the hell does somebody think it's cool to name a town Taintsville?
I don't know. We also have Niceville.
What is in the water down there?
We also have Niceville.
My wife used to work in Niceville, actually.
Oh, there you go. And Boca Raton, that means the rat's mouth. So like Boca's that's what it translates to in Spanish, the rat's mouth.
My favorite
I've been
band's
there
from
before, and that makes a lot of sense now that you say it.
Hey.
There's a lot of swampy.
That's actually a nice part of Florida.
Yeah.
Middle Florida is swampy and gross.
That's where I live.
That's what I would picture Taintsville as.
That's probably exactly where it's at.
Old North, is that a North Carolina beer?
That is a North Carolina beer. First in flight from the Three Ring Brewing Company in Asheville, North Carolina. That's a place we got to plan a meetup.
Asheville's beautiful. I am always down.
Could I get the 3 of you guys to meet me in Asheville, North Carolina for a weekend and maybe hang out with some viewers?
My in-laws live in Raleigh, so just tell me the time. We will meet you at the in-laws.
Yeah, I'll meet you at Burial.
Let's plan that sooner rather than later, because we could probably drink at a dozen or so breweries in a weekend in Asheville.
I mean,
we'd
I
have
get
a
in my
good
car now.
time.
I'm there in the morning.
Yeah,
I don't think people realize just how much good beer North Carolina has. I'm not too familiar with where you're at, Jay, but Raleigh, as far as the Raleigh Brewing Company, Bombshell, They have a couple other ones that are out there, all really good. I have not been let down yet. And then the ones you sent me, I actually have the old Margarita Goza sitting here over by me. I'm going to crack open here in a bit. I have not been disappointed. So everyone, Asheville, North Carolina, check out the beer scene there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there's definitely... So Asheville, North Carolina has been named Beer City, USA several years. I think they've stopped doing that. It was between them and Grand Rapids, Michigan every year. So between them and Grand Rapids. Hey, and that's another place. If you guys haven't been to Grand Rapids, after we do Asheville, the next location that we're going to do is Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I will tell you.
Yes.
That is some phenomenal beer. Bell's, Founders, Hopcat. Until we have some crack fries together, we haven't eaten, and that is a a place to eat. So we will definitely have to plan some of those, and we're going to get to that. That's going to be higher on our priority list after we get off here this evening. Is trying to come up with a weekend that we can plan something like that. And speaking of that, let's chat a little bit about our Patreon movement that we started last week. And I would like to start out by thanking the two people that have joined so far at the highest level, the Sip of Sunshine, and we'll get into that. Jason Hewitt is my brother. So family and friends, right? Family, friends, and fools is what everybody always says when you're trying to raise money. And Jeff Langer is another, he's not a blood brother, but he is definitely a brother. Lives just down the road from us, and we're at every football game that we can get to together. Have both joined, and we definitely appreciate both your support. It doesn't go unnoticed, and it's already we've already put it to work. We did a lot of promotion and ads out in Boise, Idaho. Picked up a few followers, promoted the show to try to get some more money raised for the Idaho Foodbank. Speaking of, that donate button is up there. Hit it up, donate some money there. But let's talk about us for a little bit, because I think, just like everybody, right? Like we talked about earlier, if we give to these organizations that do, right, the money will be used wiser. And we have said from the beginning, our tagline is trusted name in beer culture news, and that's kind of what we cover on a weekly basis. What is the positives that's going on in the beer culture? Talk about, I mean, you can go back to our first episodes as a podcast many years ago, 4 years ago, I think, maybe 3-4 years ago, and that's what we did from day one. Talked about breweries that were doing positive things in their communities, and that is our focus. Obviously, now with technology, we can get on a camera, we can set up a donate button, and we can do some fundraising activities around these organizations. And that's what we've kind of committed to doing. None of this is free for us. None of it. The hopsnews.beer, the hopsnews.com, the software that we use to get this word out there and this message out there every week is not free. Our time, I will tell you, Hoppy Mommy will tell you herself, there's messages going on from the time she goes to bed until she wakes up, and there's new messages.
Yes. Jay and Mash do not sleep.
She asked when we sleep. We don't sleep. We'll sleep, eventually. There'll be time for sleep later. Right now, we're really putting it to work. We're booked through July. We're very fortunate enough we're going to have so many guests coming up through the month of July. A lot of great guests coming on, a lot of great people. And like they said, none of this is free. It's something we love to do. They always say, be that change you want to see in the world. And that's something we really believe in.
And clearly it's not all free, as I mailed all three of them a koozie and some stickers, and Lucky now has to go to the post office to pay 15 cents if he wants to pick it up, because apparently one stamp wasn't enough.
I don't want to put my address on, but it was 15 cents.
You go abolish the post office.
And this is why the post office isn't doing great. Come on.
That's probably where mine's at.
A koozie and a few stickers away.
Yeah, that's probably where mine's at.
Jacket. It was a koozie.
I got here in Idaho before the rest of you guys, and I lived the way.
Apparently that extra 30, I'm guessing that's what's going to happen with you, Jay, too. It's probably cheaper for me to just make you another one and mail it rather than you to take the time and go to the post office.
Yeah. So back to the back to our Patreon movement. Obviously, everybody is doing their part. We are doing our part, and I told you, and I have no problem making this commitment because I'm already spending money. Whatever money we earn will be poured back into this movement or this thing that we have going on. So, you know, we earned $50 our first month between the two Patreons, and I've spent $75 in the past 2 weeks of doing advertising. So don't tell my wife. Please don't tell my wife, because I've heard about enough of it. But we are definitely committed to whatever it is that we do get in the Patreon movement to put it back into Hops News. There's a lot of things that we need to do. There's a lot of plans that we do have. One of those being continuing to develop philanthropy through beer. And that has become our mission statement over the past couple of weeks as we've done this. Beer is a great resource. And this will lead into our news here in a little bit. But the beer culture doesn't know any bounds, right? And I kind of tell everybody this, and not to get off on a political tangent, but Brotherly Love and I have had some deep conversations, and I've always said to Brotherly Love, if people would just shut the hell up, hug each other, and drink a goddamn beer, we wouldn't have half the shit that's going on in the world today. So that is our mission, is to create some goodness through beer and feature these nonprofits and to really be able to drive the giving there. Patreon is available in 3 different tiers right now that we have set up. We have the PBR, which we call everybody starts out with PBR, right? That's kind of what you're taking out of Grandpa's fridge and pounding out in the backyard. That's $5 a month. Literally a cup, a small, I don't know Starbucks size, but it's a small Starbucks.
That's a grande?
A grande.
No, God. Small is tall.
Okay, tall.
Get it together.
Mash. What are you talking about?
So you're wearing a good gourd pumpkin beer shirt. You should know your Starbucks sizes.
It is a pumpkin head shirt.
Oh, I know.
My gourd.
So you're talking a tall Starbucks once a month to be a part of our Patreon that will go a long ways, a lot farther than us not having it. And that'll get you can go to the Patreon page and see what it is. You can go to Patreon's page. It's on our Facebook. There's some stuff on there. You can see what it'll get you. It'll get you some stickers, and it'll get you into the private Facebook group. And we're going to talk about this private Facebook group last. The next one is the Pale Ale, which is $10 a month. It's going to get you a koozie from our very own Hoppy Mommy down there in Florida. It's going to get you some decals.
I will put enough postage on it, I promise.
Yeah, it's going to come COD, so you're going to have to pay for it.
15 cents for it.
But it'll get you into the private Facebook group as well. And then we've got the Sip of Sunshine. Now, we started this movement, and we started this tier with the idea this was going to kind of be the pinnacle of where we stretched our limit, right? It's a $25 a month commitment. It'll get you everything that we've said before, and it'll get you some time on a Hoppy Hour. We started that out, and when I woke up the next morning, there was already some people that had joined it, and I knew right away we couldn't keep that open like that for very long. Otherwise, we'd have to have somebody on the show every night of the week, and that just doesn't work. So obviously what we've decided to do is kind of limit that. We're going to limit that to 10 Patreons at the Sip of Sunshine level. There's already 2 of them, so there's only 8 left, but that's going to be a lifetime commitment. If you join that, you're going to be able to join us on some Hoppy Hours in the future. Right now, it'll be a call-in like we do with the breweries and other people, but eventually the systems that we're using right now will allow you to video in and kind of share with us. At the Pale Ale level and higher, you'll also be able to be a part of our Zoom socials that we're going to do once a month with the 4 of us and all of our Patreon members. Now, this is kind of twofold. I will tell you, there's a little bit of a selfish movement with this aspect of it because we want to know about the good breweries in your neighborhood that are doing awesome things for the community. So we're going to charge you for it, but we want to hear the good news that's going on in your community as well, so we can reach out and feature those breweries on an episode and help raise money for whatever it is that they're doing. So that's our 3 levels. pretty simple, a very basic layout. Offers some great things, but the biggest thing is that Facebook group where the 4 of us are in it, plus some other people that help support the show. And that is where we're going to be doing the beer exchange. Don't tell anybody, but that's where it's at.
If you want some cool stuff, head to the Patreon.
Yeah, I will tell you, if you haven't seen these 3 guys' beer list or brewery list that they've posted in that Facebook group of the available beer that they have,
I was conservative too.
I have way more than I can add. Look,
30
you join
off the top of my head.
If we get more people to join, that's how I'm going to start releasing more of my secret list.
Your secret list.
Yeah, I told these guys to, put a couple breweries on there. I think I have 4. I think these guys, between the 3 of them, if there's not 40 breweries on that list, I'd be damn surprised. And there are breweries. If you haven't seen the list of breweries in Florida, in Wisconsin, in Idaho, you have no idea what you're missing. These are not beers that you're going to find on every shelf wherever you live. These are not Sierra Nevadas. They are not Fat Tire. They are not.
Whoa! I might put a Fat Tire in there.
Yeah, they are not those type of level of beers, right? These are legitimate beers that you're going to enjoy, and you're probably going to be one of the only few in your neighborhood that has them. So great beer list. I think it'll be a great thing, and like I said, we're fully committed to using whatever resources we get. I've already started the process of getting some numbers around for that website that needs some work, but that is there. Patreon. Search Patreon. Google Patreon. Once you go to Patreon, just search Hops News, just like you see us. You'll see our Patreon page there. If one of these guys can get our URL for that and post there in the chat as Hops News, there's a few people that are asking for it. If somebody can address that, that would be great. Yes, Florida does have some amazing beer. So moving on from that, if there's any questions
we are going to have some Florida beer breweries on too. So if you want to be at home sipping on some of these good Idaho, Florida breweries, Wisconsin breweries, while we talk with these guys, hey, this is your chance.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we got. Is the one you talked about in Miami definitely happening? I don't want to say it if it's not definitely happening.
Shipping Animals is definitely happening. They will be on.
Oh, wow.
And if anybody has heard of them, you know damn well they have amazing beer, and their can art is gorgeous. I have some of their can art like displayed in my bar because it's absolutely gorgeous, and they do amazing things for the community and all sorts of other things. And I sadly have not been to the brewery yet because I was supposed to go on spring break and that didn't happen, but I'm gonna figure it out.
There you go. Nick has been, or Lucky has been so gracious to post that link there in the chat for us. So the link is up. If you're interested, hit us up there. We would definitely appreciate every dime that you give. And I will tell you, every dime that you give will be put towards growing our reach that we have here at Hops News. It may be even put into some Facebook or some website development in the near future, but it will be to grow the brand and to grow our reach. So it's about time. Let's come back down to, let's go out and check in with Mash real quick before we head to beer news. Mash, put up that koozie that people are going to win again. Let's show them.
We got Darth Tater.
Tell them how they can enter to win that.
We are sitting at 110 right now. I wonder if we can't get to 200 for the first time tonight.
Yes.
How bad do people want Darth Tater in their household?
Yeah, I will tell you. I bet you there's some people in Idaho that are gonna fight for that one. That is.
I've had my eyes on it. I've been thinking about stealing it. It was the last one on the shelves. You can ask my wife. I've been eyeballing it for months now. It's worth having just for the artwork alone. If you're a Star Wars fan like I am. There it is. Where else are you going to get Mr. Potato Head wielding a lightsaber and a Darth Vader helmet?
That is awesome. And that is how you enter that. How do you get entered for that, Mash? If you want to win that random drawing, what are going to be the circumstances to get entered?
All you have to do is toss a coin to your witcher, which means just throw in some money to the bucket here, donate to the Idaho Foodbank. It goes to some great causes. They're right here in Boise. Everything goes right back to the community. $1, $5, $20, whatever helps. We'll choose a random person tonight who has donated, and let's make it happen, guys.
Awesome.
It's me again.
Yep, let's head down to beer school down there in Florida with Professor Hoppy. What do we have for beer school this evening?
Well, with all the breweries opening back up, it kind of felt like I went to my first brewery where I actually got to drink in it this past Saturday, and it really felt like Prohibition was over. So you can't fit all of Prohibition into one day, so this is going to be a multi-part series. And today, it's how the hell did Prohibition happen? So, we're a country built on beer. They did not intend to land on Plymouth Rock. The Mayflower was supposed to keep moving, but they ran out of beer, so they landed on Plymouth Rock so they could make more beer. George Washington brewed beer and ran a distillery. So how did we go from this first president brewing beer and running a distillery to Prohibition? Well, women are often to blame, but there's more to it.
Always.
Save your comments till the end. So in the early 1800s, religion swept the country. So did German beer and cheap, unregulated liquor. So you could buy a bottle of whiskey one month at 80 proof, and the next month it could be 180 proof. So right there, that's just an accident waiting to happen. In the 1830s, the average person consumed more than 3 times the alcohol the average person consumes today. Now, these stats, I'm sure, are based on pre-COVID, pre-quarantine, but it's still way more than we're consuming today. So a doctor suddenly discovered in the 1800s that excessive alcohol is bad for you physically and psychologically, and then people put it together like, hey, these guys are going to bars and they're drinking excessively and coming home, or they're drinking all their money, and then coming home and beating their wives and children. Well, women had no rights then, so they couldn't protect their kids, they couldn't protect their money, so they started the temperance movement, basically. And temperance just means absence of alcohol. So that is kind of why women are blamed, but it's so much more still. So they would hold marches and rallies, and they would actually go into saloons and they would pray for people in there, like while they were drinking. And they would ask the owners of these saloons to sign petitions saying like, oh, I won't sell alcohol anymore. Now, they didn't necessarily want them to completely stop drinking. They just wanted them to be safe, you know, lower the consumption, kind of get some regulation there, but that wasn't going to happen. So they moved for the total abstinence thing. And by the 1900s, these places were all over the country. But it wasn't just the women, like I said before. It was also the Anti-Saloon League was not all just women. And I mean, they were working the whole 1900s as well. And both these organizations would lobby politicians, and they would say, hey, look what this is doing to our children. And their goals were to have each of the states pass prohibition laws, not the whole country. And in fact, Maine actually passed the first prohibition law in 1846. I don't think it went too well and stuff happened, but they did pass the first one then. Now, it may sound like Prohibition happened just because a bunch of religious people and a bunch of women who married alcoholic a-holes, but it gets a lot more wibbly-wobbly than that. So, a lot of the people that were for Prohibition were actually on the right side of the law. You had people, they wanted prison reform and workers' rights and forest preservation and suffrage, which, if you listen to Phoebe Buffay, it's a good thing, but it sounds horrible. But one person that was a really big advocate for Prohibition was actually Frederick Douglass. A lot of slave owners would give their slaves whiskey, and he said that it prevented them from having any ambition of trying to escape or anything. And so Frederick Douglass then said, we need a sober America so we can have no slavery, because all great reforms go together. And he encouraged people to join this temperance movement in the name of humanity. So that's actually a really good reason. So there's actually really good reasons here for Prohibition. But the most unexpected push, not that I agree with Prohibition, but you know, it was necessary at the time, I guess. But one of the most unexpected things that actually caused Prohibition to happen was German beer. Now, this delicious classic beer styles that we all love today helped Prohibition happen. In the 1900s, I think I even have mentioned this in more than one beer school, German breweries just opened up all over the country because German beer is the best beer. And their beer was great. They introduced us to the lager. So by 1900, we had nearly 2,000 breweries in the United States, and many of them were German. But in the early 1900s, in World War I, the Germans became the bad guys. And they actually started saying, if you buy beer, it's un-American. And in 1917, they renamed sauerkraut to Liberty Cabbage. And you don't even want to know what they did to those little wiener dogs, whose name I can't actually pronounce, but that's when they were renamed Wiener Dogs. Thank you. I've tried many times and I just can't. So we had the whole, everybody's being anti-German and you know, it's anti-American to drink beer because most of the beer is German, and, you know, these guys are drinking this unregulated alcohol and they're coming home and beating their wives and doing terrible things, and it's encouraging slavery and all these things. And then in 1917, during World War I, there was actually a mini prohibition solely to save grain for food because we were in war times, and this was supposed to be temporary, but it was almost like a preparation. So when it was actually introduced as like a whole state thing, people weren't as shocked because they were kind of already doing it. And you think, no, it's America, we need money, we make money off alcohol. Well, in 1913, the 16th Amendment happened, which introduced income tax. But if you live in Florida, we don't have income tax. One of the perks of Florida. So they did not heavily rely on the money, so it was easier to get rid of it. And actually by 1920, 33 states had already enacted prohibition laws. And a lot of these laws weren't saying you can't have alcohol, but it was saying you can't distribute it. So a lot of people, I guess, were just making it up. So basically, America couldn't get their act together, and they couldn't handle their alcohol. So that, combined with their World War I German hatred, which we all know got worse, they got put in an alcoholic timeout for almost 14 years. And President Woodrow Wilson actually vetoed this because he knew it wasn't going to go well. But that's actually probably going to be our lesson for next week. But it overwhelmingly passed in Congress. So, in all, my basic lesson here is, while we all want to be like, you know, you got to think Jimmy Buffett here. We all wanted that woman to blame, but in the end, it's your own damn fault.
False. I'm never at fault.
So that's pretty much the lesson. I had always heard it was mainly because guys were drinking away their paycheck and beating their wives, and women had no rights. We were considered chattel back then. Chattel just means something you can own. And but it was another time. It's more than that. And the one thing I was really surprised at was the German beer thing. But I mean, it does make sense. And even buying grain, because, you know, a lot of the grain can come from Germany. Well, you're aiding their war effort if you're buying goods from them as well. So it was interesting. And next week we will probably talk about what great things Prohibition did for America, like Al Capone. A lot of good movies.
If you don't learn something at beer school, you're not damn listening. Yeah, another great one. And I have to say, I don't recognize the name, but Lori Harper.
That's my mom.
Awesome. Hoppy Mommy's mommy is our third Patreon, and she's at the Sip of Sunshine level. That is awesome. We can't wait to talk to you. So we appreciate those Patreons. Jason Hewitt, Jeff Langer, Lori Harper. Appreciate your contribution, because it'll definitely help us go a long ways in getting that name out there. Let's go to MASH and talk a little bit of news on Hops News. What's going on in beer news, MASH?
All right, everybody. So, you know, last week we were fortunate enough to have Marcus from Weather Souls on their brewery outside of San Antonio. As of today, like, the thing they're doing with Black is Beautiful movement has expanded as of this morning to 540 breweries, 43 states, and 14 countries. Now, if you thought that was great, we're making strides. Not only do we have the Black is Beautiful movement, but we also have People Power Beer. It was created in 2018 by a brewery out of Brooklyn called Threes Brewing. And if you know anything about Brooklyn, they've also helped create the All Together beer that we've seen since the COVID movement. It's going to be running July 4th through Election Day, and what it does is 10% of all profits from this People Power beer across the country, across the world, that anybody gets in on a brews, is going to go towards the American Civil Liberties Union. Hot topic right now, as we all know, And what the ACLU actually is they are the largest public interest law firm. As of 2018, 80 breweries signed up. As you can see, if we can make some movement, Black is Beautiful movement has 540. Let's see if we can't, make some good things happen. Spread the word to breweries near you. Look into the Threes Brewing Company from Brooklyn. They're people power beer. Craft beer community is doing a lot of great things, getting a lot of people involved, and this is just another way that we're doing that.
Awesome. And we're going to talk a little bit of beer news as well, talking about Jake's Market in Cannon. Is that up near where you used to live, right, Mash? Jake's Market? Yes.
It's they have a bunch of different locations. I know one's in Hooksett, New Hampshire. They're all throughout New Hampshire, pretty much. Northern New Hampshire, things like that.
So this was a Mascoma Valley market called Jake's Market. Sounds like he's got a few different places. So what Jake decided to do was donate $1 for every Bud Light case, and $2 for every Bud Light seltzer case sold would be donated to the Mascoma Valley or Mascoma Community Health Center. Then you get this jackwagon of a doctor to come on and say, basing donations off of beer sales for a health community center or a community health center is wrong. Listen, dude, people are going to buy beer whether you like it or not. And to think that you can come on and bully a store in the local media to try to change what it is that they're doing to raise money is just completely asinine. And that is what is wrong with a lot of people like you that try to push the values and the beliefs of what they think is right onto others. This guy owns, I think when I seen it, he owned at least 3 or 4 Jake's Market in the area. I don't know how much money he's raising for this effort, but it's more than they started with. And to raise money for a community health center based off of beer is just something that not everybody's doing. Could you imagine if every store in the nation gave $1 and $2 for Bud Light and Bud Light seltzer cases sold? We wouldn't have to have, we wouldn't have to have insurance. That's a lot of damn money, man. Just leave the guy alone and let him do what it is that he's doing to raise money for a community health center. Unless you're just gonna write a check so he doesn't do it, just shut your damn mouth and let him do it. And and the worst part about it is this newspaper, the Valley News. I don't even know who they are. We reached out to Jake and asked Jake if he wanted to come on. Jake wasn't interested. I can see why, because he's kind of getting beat up on it. But vnews.com. If anybody wants to get on there and make a comment, we fully support it, because I think it's complete horseshit of what they're trying to do to Jake's Market up there in Cannon. Is that in Maine? Is that where that's at? MASH is in Maine.
There's one in New Hampshire, one in Maine. They're pretty much all the towns. There's a town that's named after. They're all the same names, pretty much up there. Nonetheless, however, I can tell you that they're making a huge mistake. I have a lot of not just military friends out there, but just friends in general that they live off of Bud Light. Regardless of how you feel about that, you're talking $1 to $2. You're making a crushing. You're really helping out a great cause. So to turn against that's just asinine to me.
Yeah, I mean, beer culture is beer culture. I will tell you, there's a lot of history up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, over those domestic brands, and I don't care how they raise the money. I don't care if it's domestic beer or if it's a case of Budweiser that they're donating money to donate money for a cause like that is a worthwhile cause. And we will. I'm not stopped. Jake up in Jake's Market just said he was busy tonight. We're going to try to get Jake's Market on for a future episode and raise money for that community health center, because that'll kind of be putting a thumb into those people up there that are trying to do bad things. Speaking of bad things, let's go check in with Lucky. He's been day drinking.
He's kidding, though. He's kidding.
Lucky, what are you drinking on up there? I seen you showed it there at the screen. What is that?
This is from MASH. This is the, what is it, Gummy Bear Apocalypse? Is that what it is? Passion fruit IPA, hazy IPA, one of those there. It's very, very good. I like it a lot. You guys are getting me. I didn't have a whole lot of hazy IPAs before we started exchanging, but I feel like my fridge is full of them now, and every one I pull out is really good. So I appreciate it. This one's really good.
It's from Payette Brewing. They're actually going to be on our show June 25th.
I should have saved it.
Good thing I sent you. I got you. There's a couple I know you have, but they will be on our show June 25th. We're going to be looking at the Idaho Rivers United that day, so I'm excited to have them on.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we can't wait to talk to them as well. And I think I still have mine in the refrigerator, so I'm going to save it because that'll be a good one to bring on when those guys are back. So we got a few minutes here. Let's take some questions. If the viewers have any questions, I'll scroll through some of these and we'll ask some of them, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter. If you got any questions for the crew tonight, let us know and we'll get to it. In meantime, let's go down to Hoppy Mommy. I think she was one that opened a new one here recently. Let's go down to her, see what that beer is that she's drinking down there in Florida. Hoppy, what are you drinking down there?
I'm finishing up the Zombie Dust, but I did start with a beer that I did not share, Calusa. It's Stormage. It's a double IPA. Their beer is amazing.
Ooh.
And Brad actually posted he has a friend in Orlando. I did respond, and I did not misspell there. I think it auto-corrected to the wrong there. I tried to fix it and it wouldn't let me. But, yeah, Tactical Brewing did a great can release. Feel free to direct message us on Hops News. And I will give you, if you tell me the style you like, I will tell you exactly what she needs to bring you home because we got some great beer. But yeah, I'm almost there. Actually, my next beer on board is going to actually be Appalachian Mountain Brewing Lager.
Ooh, I just opened one from there too.
You're not going to be disappointed in that. So we've got a few comments from the viewers here. It's hot in Tennessee, so going IPA, fruited sour, and lager right now. That's awesome, Brad. That definitely, the lager on those hot nights, that is where I'm at. And Hoppy's not going to be disappointed in that lager she's got there. Jason's got a question. Has Lucky ever tried Sip of Sunshine?
Yes.
I think
on here.
I've seen yeah.
Last
I've seen
week.
him comment a couple times. I think he's thinking of the Heady Topper. That's the one that I have not tried. I've seen the Sip of Sunshine a couple times. And yes, Jason, I tried that one. That one made it to me. And it was delicious. But the Heady Topper is the one that I have not yet tried.
So
you must have missed your descriptive description of Sip of Sunshine.
Yeah.
He opened it and was like,
so descriptive.
it's good.
Yeah.
That's a beer.
Speaking of descriptions, I want to know what you guys think of the Zombie Dust. Can you describe that to me, or what you guys think of it?
So, Lucky, you kind of take it over. Who do you want to go to first, and we'll go to them.
Let's go MASH first.
Let's go to MASH out in Idaho.
I just finished it, actually.
MASH, what's going on with it?
Hey, so I just finished it. I actually wasn't overwhelmed. Like, there wasn't a lot of hops to it, which isn't a bad thing. I thought it was probably really, really smooth, goes down easily. This is probably one I can sit there and drink around a fire or on the hot summer day, believe it or not, while I'm sitting outside on the back porch. I thought it was phenomenal. If you don't know what it is, it's this right here, Zombie Dust. If you find it, you got to get your hands on it. Not even just for the can art, but for the actual taste. It was really smooth. I enjoyed it.
So can you compare it to Sip of Sunshine for me? Because, like, I think Sip of Sunshine is a lot better, but that's like, I guess, the second IPA that I've had that I think I could drink a bunch of them and, like, not be overwhelmed, I guess.
Yeah, so I think the Sip of Sunshine has more flavor to it, I will say. The one thing that I'm missing with the Zombie Dust perhaps is a little bit of that flavor. You taste a hint of hops. Other than that, it goes down almost, to me personally, it goes down almost like a lager. And it's one of those things I can sit there and sip on and drink. And then, again, that's not a bad thing at all. That just means I can drink plenty of them. But I will say Sip of Sunshine definitely better, and it is one of those I can just sit there and drink a lot of without being overwhelmed in the IPA sense where I can just have a few.
All right, we're back at the four of us. Brad Eldridge Smith is actually in the process of starting a brewery. And we chatted about this. This may be, I will tell you, Hops News is not above anything when it comes to beer. Brad's over there in Tennessee near Nashville, and it's Nashville's got a pretty all right beer scene, but they got an even better music scene. We're not above meeting at Brad's Common Law Brewing Company for their grand opening.
Ooh.
That would
Nashville,
be
Tennessee. Yes, sign me up.
I like the name.
We actually went out there for just for a cigar bar at one point. Just for the weekend, went out there to smoke a cigar a couple of times. So we would not be below driving to Nashville, Tennessee for a brewery opening and having some Hops News live out there. So check him out. He's got a Facebook page, Common Law Brewing Company. Brad Smith is starting it up, viewer. And hey, if you're a viewer and you're a supporter from as early as Brad's been around, we definitely might show up to do that. So
yes,
let's go check in with Hoppy, see what she thinks about the dust. Hoppy, what's going on with that dust?
The dust, I think, is so it says it's actually an undead pale ale. And I could see that a little bit, but to me, it's a West Coast IPA. And when you compare it to Sip of Sunshine, while it's before the whole Haze Boy trend, it's more of an East Coast IPA. So I feel like they're both very smooth, but sometimes it's hard for me to describe the difference. But I feel like East Coast almost goes down a little bit quicker, not necessarily on purpose, but it's really good. But the fact that you're saying, so the only beers you're saying that you've ever had that were really good as far as IPAs are Sip of Sunshine and Zombie Dust?
Not the only ones, but those are two. Like, normally when I drink an IPA, I can only have one and then I have to move on to something else. The Sip of Sunshine and the Zombie Dust. I mean, the Sip of Sunshine, I feel like I could have drank 100 of those and been totally fine.
Yep.
And then the Zombie Dust, after I got it and sent it out to you guys, there was one night I casually went through 3 of them. I was like, how am I doing this? Because as far as
it goes down so quick.
It just goes down really quick, and
it
not
does.
that it doesn't taste, but it still tastes like an IPA.
Right.
So I just don't.
Yeah, but I think this is just a classic West Coast, very well done pale ale, but it is pretty much an IPA. And I think Sip of Sunshine, I mean, you're just looking at another really well done East Coast IPA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Agreed.
I mean, keep in mind, I only have my certified beer server thing. I'm not a Cicerone.
I don't know. She's teaching beer school, so pretty soon she's gonna have a master's.
Yeah.
We're sending all these into a college, and you're gonna get.
We could probably get you
Good.
an honorary degree from somewhere, an honorary master's, and
There you go. I like it. Putting my law degree to work.
So Jeff Raymond, a longtime viewer and supporter. Lucky, maybe the beer gods will bless you soon with a heady topper. Actually, I think that was taken care of today. So I think he's got
just
one.
Give him my address.
Yeah.
Hey, he's sending me one as well. Jeff's one of my longtime friends.
Wow.
He's blessing you. Maybe you have 2 heady toppers if one doesn't make it this time.
Nice.
Maybe.
Nice.
Like we said
You just
earlier,
gotta keep
if they
sending
keep
them
getting
and hope
crushed
that
like
one
your
makes
hopes and
it.
dreams, we're just going to the brewery. Hops News is going on the road, and we're going straight to Alchemist themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even get a damn koozie to the kid, so we probably should send more than one can of heady.
Hey, I'm down for a Vermont trip too, just so you guys know. I mean, I will.
Yes.
I would. Literally, we drove there last summer. I use the excuse as a bike event, a bike race up there and on the island to drive up there for a long weekend. So, and that was purely motivated because I knew there was going to be some good beer up there. So,
if you've never been to Vermont, it looks just like Jurassic Park when it's the summertime because it gets so much snow that just as soon as it melts, it's all green. You're just right there. The T-Rex is coming chasing the herd of whatever the hell they were in Jurassic Park, and that's what it always reminds me of. I'm not even gonna lie.
and I don't remember who sent this one.
That's lucky right there.
Yeah.
Madtown, Nut Brown.
That'll be one that you'll drink some of that when you come to watch Appalachian State lose to Wisconsin.
What?
That's in Madison. That's
what did you say?
Brewery. That's in Madison Brewery.
Hey, bite your tongue up there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There's going to be two things. Two things are wrong with that. It's not Appalachian. It's Appalachian.
Oh, Appalachian.
I always say Appalachian. Too.
Yeah.
And two, there's no way in hell that they're going anywhere and going to lose. I can tell you that right now.
On Wisconsin, baby. Throw them up.
It's all about the U.
Hops News is going to be in for a hell of an episode. I know that, the other two probably are not college football fans like I am, but we will be in Wisconsin, in Madison, Wisconsin. If the game goes off like college football should, I will be there with Lucky, and we will do some live broadcasting at some of the breweries and probably from the tailgate. When Appalachian State heads to another P5 opponent and hands another ass whooping out.
Wisconsin is no Michigan. Let's keep this in mind, first of all.
Well,
Sorry,
listen.
how many national championships do y'all have?
0.
83, 87, 89, 91, 2001.
Ask me how many
turnover
lost
chain.
Lost. All of them.
We gotta definitely do a college football kickoff weekend episode of Hops News. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Now, catch me any sport. Catch me with the NHL playoffs starting up in a month. I'm gonna be just down the drain, drinking and a nervous wreck for the Bruins, let alone college football. So.
Yeah, hockey's not big down here.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We've got breaking Hops News. There's a viewer, Dustin. I don't think I've seen Dustin around. Dustin says, got that right about App. ASU class of 2013 here. Man, that is awesome. And Dustin, I don't recognize your name, so I definitely apologize, but hit us up on the inbox. We're gonna chat a little bit. We've got some Hokies. We've got another Go app. It's going to be good. Graduated with Dustin said he graduated with one of the head brewers of Boonshine, one of Boonshine's head brewers.
Oh, hey, I've been there. I thought their beer was great. Them in Appalachian were my favorite breweries in that area.
There you go, Hoppy. Hey, Dustin, I've got a Boonshine beer here in the cooler. I'll break it out if we make it to that point tonight. So, hit me up in the send us a message so I have you. We're definitely, if Wisconsin goes, we'll be there. If not, you come up to Boone for a game. Hit me up. We'll definitely drink a beer together. So that'll be good. Where'd Lucky go? Let's go check in with Lucky in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
He was tired of you slandering Wisconsin, so he left.
He's probably getting a beer.
Well, like I said earlier, I haven't been drinking since 2:30, and I haven't broken the seal or anything. So that's exactly what I wasn't doing. So
gotcha. And 2 minutes before we started, I definitely did not run to go to the bathroom.
I tell you,
because I had already started drinking.
By the end of these episodes, I'm dying over here. I get the 1,000-yard stare. I'm staring off into the corner. I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to not make it, guys.
So just a little a little behind the scenes look. As soon as we hit end, there's like 4 blank screens, and everybody's toilets are flushing in the background because we've had about, by this point, all of us have usually had about 3 hours worth of beers as we pregame and kind of get ready for this as well. So it's
be working on 7. So
lucky.
Again, he didn't start at 2:30 Central Time.
I did
today.
I did not start at 2:30 Central Time. In case anybody from my work is watching, definitely did not.
Punching numbers all day. God damn it.
I was crunching numbers. Was not drinking alcohol.
I gotta say, I opened up this margarita goza.
Let's go to MASH.
Brotherly Love was.
Let's go to MASH. So this is the margarita goza. Brotherly Love last week was part of it, and he actually designed the label. What do you think about that beer out there, MASH?
So if I'm drinking liquor, my entire favorite thing on earth is tequila. And I'm so bougie that I will sip on margaritas with fresh fruit in them. And that's exactly what this beer actually tastes like. It tastes just like I sat down and I poured myself a nice margarita drink on a Friday afternoon after a long week at work. It is amazing. And on top of that, the can art, which the first thing I did is I looked for the initials SJ, like we talked about last week, and I found them. This can art, this is what I'm going to save this can is, because it's such an incredible artwork. But the beer itself, like I said, it tastes just like a margarita, and that is, if I'm not drinking beer, I'm drinking margaritas.
Yeah, if anybody didn't catch that last episode, go back and check out the last episode. We had Brotherly Love, longtime Hops News guy.
Just showing off some of the can art here. Was this Brotherly Love too?
I think that was we had another artist that came in for that one. Let's go to Lucky. That was another interesting. Which one is that? That's the Roots, right?
This is the Roots. Yeah. I think all of your can art is gorgeous. It's super.
Yes, it is.
Super cool. But I like this one a lot too. This is one that I had earlier.
Yep.
I don't know if I showed it off enough or did the due diligence, but yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Another can.
So the margarita goza, that was sent to all of you guys purposely, because that beer is, man, that is, like you said, Mash, that is a beer that you can just crush it, and it is phenomenal. It's one of my wife's favorite beers. So definitely a solid beer. Great beer, and I'll tell on myself. My wife's got on a margarita kick with some tequila in it lately, and
yes,
I will tell you, they're pretty damn tasty, and she makes a good one. So I'll drink 1 or 2 or 6 a week for sure.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, margaritas, I love them.
So Jeff says, use the Patreon money for some catheters. Jeff, if you join right now, join the Sips of Sunshine, I'll order catheters for everybody and send them to them. Whether they use them or not, I don't know, but I will order them and send them to them. So hit us up on Patreon, because we would appreciate your support.
Next time I don't start drinking at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I will definitely use that.
Wait a minute.
I'm holding you to that. Make you sign an oath. Like the women did that went into the saloon.
Contract out.
Right.
Scout's honor. Scout's honor. How do you like the Madtown, Jay? The Nut Brown.
Man, I'll be honest with you, I'm not usually a nut brown ale fan. I'm usually not a brown ale fan, period. Right? Yep. I feel like this is kind of like between a blonde and a stout that can't decide what the hell it wants to be. Typically is how I feel about brown ales, and I'm not. I usually won't go out of my way to buy a brown ale. I can't tell you the last time.
I think you just described a brown ale.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. I don't go out of my way either. My wife is a huge fan. Like her favorite is Smutty Nose Old Brown Dog.
Oh, that is one of the worst, man.
I hope she's not watching, because she's gonna kick me out.
Yeah. Yep. No, but nut browns are usually, the brown ales are just like I said. It's kind of like it can't decide what it wants to be, and when I want a beer, I usually know what style I'm looking for. But I would buy this one again. This has got enough flavor. This is more towards like the stout side of things, maybe a porterish beer. So I definitely enjoy this one. So that was that's a great one. That is
Madtown Nut Brown.
Yeah,
I was sad.
It rhymes.
I was sad to hear you say earlier. I was sad to hear you say earlier in Michigan. You said you've been to a Hopcat.
Oh yeah.
That's where I was planning on taking you guys in Madison. There's one of those right on State Street, a Hopcat, and they've got you can drink all throughout the Midwest in that. So they've got everything on tap. I think they have I want to say 200 or something taps that just rotate all the time.
Sir.
And you can drink anything there. That's where I was planning on taking you guys.
Well, I will
when
tell
came
you
on.
guys.
myself to this.
Yeah, if we can get together in Grand Rapids, Michigan, I'll take the three of you to the original Hopcat that we broke in many years ago in Grand Rapids, because that is a special brew pub. They, like Lucky said, they've got more taps on the wall at Hopcat than you can imagine. What they're known for is their crack fries. Lucky, have you had some of their crack fries?
Have I had
crack fries?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Don't let my work here.
Okay, fries are my weakness. I need to know more about this.
You will. We will know more soon, because that is legitimately a place wherever the four of us can get together that has one. We will drink many beers there and eat a lot of damn French fries.
Yep. Yeah, no, they're all of the beers are right there. I think they were all like Midwestern. I haven't been there, and I mean, I go there every time I go to Madison. That's usually where we try to go and eat. But like all of the beers at the Madison one were like Midwestern, mostly local. And then the crack fries are just to die for. So I had a friend that worked there for a while. That was what she did through college. And so every time we would go there, she would give us a free order of crack fries as soon as we sat down. And like that would just keep us coming back no matter what. So yeah, that's, we'll have to make a stop there, and we can sip through some of the Midwest, get a flight or a couple flights, and have ourselves a day.
Yes.
Just keep picturing Dave Chappelle. Like, you got any more of those fries?
Yeah.
It's exactly what it's like.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it's like. They're so good.
Look, you cannot understate good French fries, especially while you're drinking. For some reason, while you're drinking, French fries is one of those foods that just hits the spot.
Or tots.
Yes.
Don't they come with some kind of I forget what the dipping sauce is. I don't even know if it's a sauce. It might be some kind of like beer cheese or something. You can get something with them that you dip them in.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just phenomenal.
Beer cheese is delicious.
Hey, speaking of food, the Idaho Foodbank is on our donate button. Hit them up. Give them some money. Where do we stand?
Let's get to 200 tonight.
Where do we stand? Are we at 200 yet? Anybody got the latest count?
25.
You need to use some Jedi mind trick on that.
Let's get to 125.
Come on, folks. Let's go to MASH. Let's go to MASH. So show us the front again there, MASH. If you want to be entered in this Darth Tater koozie, you've got to donate to the Idaho Foodbank. Don't let us down. Keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling.
I know we can do it. Let's get to 200 tonight, for some great causes.
This is a very good lager. I'm not a huge lager fan, and this
did
is
you
a very
break
good
it?
Lager. I did.
Let's check in with Hoppy. Hoppy, what is it?
Drinking the Appalachian Mountain Brewing Lager. It's
a gold medal winner. Hey, I'm impressed. I am impressed.
She's going to be walking around her house Appalachian.
I am impressed.
That's fun to say.
Yes.
So yes. Yeah, I'm all about the hazies and the stouts and the porters. This is a damn good lager.
Hey, I will tell you, when we tailgate together, that is what I'm drinking, because you can drink that from the time we pull in about 6 in the morning until whenever the game starts. And you got a pretty good chance of being able to walk out on your own, but it's not guaranteed.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's 4.2, so I could play some beer ball with this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And that is I don't like to brag a lot about the brewery, but that is a gold medal winner at GABF for the lager category.
Ooh. Yeah, I see that.
And I will tell you, there's probably no heavier entered category than the lager category at GABF. There's thousands of entries of beer in that category. So pretty impressive. That's why I sent it to you. I kind of figured you guys would appreciate it, because I kind of do too. It's a light beer with a lot of flavor.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember if I had that last week or the week before, but yeah, that was one of my favorites. I think I put it on Untapped. I forget what I scored it at, but it was pretty high. Loved it.
It better been all the stars.
It's all the stars you're off the show, pal.
Yeah, whatever the max is, just give it. So Dustin says he misses that A&B Black and Gold. Moved to Nashville about a year ago. Yeah, that porter is man. That has been a popular beer. Those guys did a very good job with that. Dustin, I'd be interested. I'm going to have to check you out, and I'm going to stalk you a little bit on Facebook after we get out of here because I worked at A&B for a little bit. But I'd be interested to see if I ever met you there or saw you there, maybe even at a football game. So I'll stalk you on Facebook here after we get off here. But yeah, the porter was another great one.
We may have to see him if we go to Nashville for the brewery opening. There's a new brewery coming your way, Dustin.
Common Law Brewing. Maybe. Yeah, so I think Dustin got here because of Brad. I think Brad tagged him in the chat or something. So we appreciate that, Brad. And if whoever else out there is watching, tag your friends, share it, force your neighbor onto us, whatever you may be. But help us get some more followers out there and more people liking and following the page because that always helps raise more money.
Yes, that's a big thing. Speaking of live, like I said, we have a lot of guests coming up, and we talked about the Black is Beautiful earlier. Something I really want to touch on because I'm super, super wicked excited about this is there's an Idaho brewery, Western Collective Brewing Co. They are doing the Black is Beautiful release on June 27th, and we might, at least myself, potentially a couple of our co-hosts here, we might be streaming live from this event. So if you're interested in it, check us out. It's going to be a Saturday special event.
Awesome. So Saturday special event. And I just seen a message my wife posted here. Adam Glover, if he's still watching. It's been a while, brother. That's a brewer. That's a local. That guy does some amazing product, and him and I worked at Appalachian Mountain Brewery for a few years together. So, if you're out there watching, Adam, I would definitely love to get you on an episode to talk about beer because that would be amazing. Yeah, he is watching. Yeah, he's first time on here. Yeah, man, we have to get you on an episode soon. That is a guy that. Anything he's ever done, I haven't had one that I'm like, that's not impressive. He does some amazing beer. And he's kind of I will tell you, if you guys know North Carolina breweries, that guy has worked for them. If one of those breweries hit you that you're like, man, I recognize that name and I know what they do, Adam's worked for him. So great dude, great family. Definitely love to have him on and talk about where he's at down there in Charlotte because I haven't had their product yet. But what I will do, Adam, is I will get some from you and I will send to these guys, and then we will have you on an episode when they all have some. Because I have no doubts that what they're doing down there in Charlotte right now is nothing short of amazing, and you guys will be impressed with it. So yes.
What's the name of the brewery again? Sorry,
Adam. What is the name of the brewery you're working at now? I think it's Salud down there in Charlotte. I don't recall, but I believe that's where he's at. Adam is a journeyman of sorts. He's worked at some great breweries in North Carolina. Spent a stint here at Appalachian Mountain Brewery right when they were really producing some great product and starting to get the name out there and moving into a transition. Seaboard Brewing is where he's at currently. Gotcha. So definitely, Adam, I'll hit you up here shortly after we get off here. We'll get some beer and we'll get it out to these guys and then get you on an episode. But good to see you, man. Appreciate you stopping in.
My dad spends a lot of time in Charlotte, so I'm going to have to tell him to go over there and check it out.
Nice.
Charlotte's beautiful. Charlotte is a beautiful, beautiful city to be in. I will tell you that much. I've spent some time there.
That's what he said. He said it's one of as far as weather goes, it's always perfect in Charlotte. It's always 76 and sunny. Rarely it's anything else.
Yep. So he kind of gave me his resume here. You guys might recognize a couple of the names. Salud was one of them. Fonta Flora. I don't know if you've heard about them, but they do.
I've heard of them.
pretty amazing stuff in Morganton, and I will, just to give you a little bit of, it probably won't be on Hops News page, but I'm getting ready to go down and do a stream a fundraiser for one of their brewers down there that's battling cancer to raise a little bit of money for them. And the second one, or the last one, I know you guys have heard of this one as well, Natty Greens over there in Winston-Salem. So that's Adam Glover's resume, and we'll definitely get some of that new Seaboard brewing beer out that he's working on to you guys, and we'll bring him on an episode, and we'll talk. That'll be fun because I know him personally, so it'll be fun to talk with him and kind of get his travels and his going. And Dustin, I guess Dustin may have worked with him in Greensboro, man. What a small world. Yeah, what a small world. So great community. We appreciate you guys coming out. Hey, the next episode we're going to go back to the international. Mash, let's go to you and talk about the international show coming up on Sunday.
All right. Yes, we are going international this Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We have Brewwitch coming off all the way from Germany. And in addition, a couple weeks ago when we did our last international show, we spoke about the Pink Boot Society and what that was about. They raise money for scholarships for women brewers and things like that. Well, we are fortunate enough to have Carly, who works with the Pink Boot Society. She's going to be joining us this Sunday. And she knows a little brewery out of Holly Springs, North Carolina, called Bombshell Brewery. They are all female owned, all female brewed brewery out of Holly Springs, North Carolina. They should be joining us as well on Sunday. So we're going to be raising a little money for them, talking with what the cool things they do. They span the entire country and hopefully soon worldwide. So really looking forward to that.
Awesome. I think Lucky cracked another one. Man, Lucky's on a roll. I think that's about a 6-pack. Lucky, what are you drinking in up there?
This is Hopworks. I don't remember who sent this to me.
That's Hopworks. Me right there. Hell yeah, I know that can.
Nice.
That is from out here in Idaho. Another Idaho beer. Like I said, they don't call it a gem state for nothing. I was very surprised.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to try this one. Yeah, I have been just rolling today. It's been a nice Thursday.
I opened up a treehouse. This is my last treehouse in the stack. I gotta hit up my friends out east. Last one.
All right.
No,
let's go.
I've never even seen that can, but I could just tell it was a treehouse.
Let's go.
And then when I looked at you,
treehouse style.
That look you gave me, I was like, that's a friggin' treehouse.
Yes.
Let's see the can again, Mash. We're out on you in Idaho. What was that can again?
It is called 87. They make a bunch of different beers. If you know anything about Treehouse, they are probably the premier brewing company out of Western Mass, middle of nowhere, but their brewery's the most beautiful one I might have been to. It feels so welcoming. The can lines may be long, but it goes fast, and their beer is amazing. I mostly love them for their porters and their stouts, but even their IPAs are great. So this is the 87 from Treehouse. The last one in the stack. I've been saving this one.
Awesome.
Figuring out a good time to drink it.
Awesome. So give us a rundown one more time, Mash. What do we got coming up? Sunday, the 18th, and then the 25th. Let the viewers know what we have in the works.
All right. So we have this Sunday. We've got Carly from the Pink Boot Society. I'm sorry. Jeez. I had to blank. From the Pink Boot Society, potentially Bombshell Brewing will also be coming with. Next Thursday, we are going to have Boise Brewing Company, and they're working with Add the Words Idaho, which is very important in Idaho. They are working on adding a lot of good legislative laws to the state legislative. And then June 25th, Payette Brewing. They will be on as well. Another, like I said, this is Idaho month, and it really gets me excited because we get to showcase the good beer that comes out of here. I didn't expect anything when I first got to Idaho, but their beer is really blowing me away, and I've just been hooking the guys up here out east with all the good stuff that's come from here.
Yeah, that's awesome. We appreciate it. So Thursday, Hoppy Hour, 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll be back. Before that, we've got a little morning edition on Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. It is always a rough one. We start out.
I read a meme recently that said, quarantine taught me that if I can get up early enough, I can get drunk, sober up, and get drunk again in the same day.
And that happens.
So that's
8 a.m. here.
Our early morning. Oh yeah, that's right. You're in.
I'm talking beers at 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, oh my.
So we'll be probably joining you with some coffee cups in our hands, a stout in the coffee mug. But it'll be a good Sunday. We'll have Brew Witch back on from Germany. Talk a little bit about women in brewing and help support that cause. The Idaho Foodbank is our donation button tonight. Hit it up. We will, as soon as we close out from here, do a random drawing of giving away that tater koozie out there from Idaho. Before that, share our social medias for us. Join us, like us, follow us. YouTube is a big one. We want to nail down our own URL, obviously YouTube at Hops News, but we need 100 followers. So if you have a YouTube account or if you don't, take the half dozen email addresses that you have and make YouTube accounts for, and then go subscribe to us. We're about a third of the way there. I believe the last time I looked, we were like 35 subscribers. So we need 100 so we can create your own URL. And we don't get paid until there's 1,000. So we got a long ways to go before we even think about any type of monetizing of YouTube, which probably is not going to happen anytime soon. But if you have a YouTube account, go and subscribe to us there. Help get us to 100 so we can get there. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, we're all of those. And we're easy to find. This has been a brand and an idea that we've built for a few years. So at Hops News, you can find us anywhere on any of those. Pretty easy to find us. Don't forget about our Patreon movement. Patreon is how we will be able to get to grow and hopefully one day get a real legitimate website shown up. And be able to, our goal right now, I will tell you, there's a push between the four of us to be at GABF next year. And bring some solid content through Hops News. So that is our push.
It's going to happen.
Yes,
we will be there.
We will make. Not. There is no try.
Yeah, we will. We will make it happen. But your support will definitely help us get there easier than without it. And those Patreons, we definitely appreciate your support, and we'll be in touch. Hoppy Mommy's Mommy. We will add you to the Facebook group tonight. And those other two have they hit you guys up for the beer exchange yet? Has anybody hit you up?
Oh. No, I don't even have an address to send koozies and stickers, and I will put 2 stamps on it.
Let's go, guys. Those two that are in.
Jason have been in talks.
Yeah, you guys got to hit us up. Good, hit us up. Let those guys give you some good beer. You've probably already had everything that I've had. Except Hoppy Mommy's mom. She might need some North Carolina beer that I can send her. So hit us up there. Let's go check in with Mash with his parting words. Mash, what do you have for us? Where can people find you?
Hey, so you can find me on the Instagrams, the Twitters at Matthew Tyler. Hey, I'm always welcome. If you want to add me on Facebook, I'm always here. You can. I love meeting people. I love talking to everybody. So really appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Now let's take it up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin with Lucky. Lucky, what's your parting shots and where can people find you?
Parting shots? I don't really have any. I'm just going to say on Wisconsin just because that seems to be the recurring theme here. And I know I've gotten some trash talk in the comments tonight. So on Wisconsin, I'm looking forward to you guys coming up. You can find me at nick.luckman pretty much anywhere. Otherwise, I've been in the comments. Add me on Facebook. Slide into my DMs. I love to talk to people just like Nash.
I'm so dirty.
Where can the ladies find you on Tinder?
Better have some virus protection before you do that.
Where can the ladies find you on Tinder?
I will find the ladies on Tinder. Do not worry. I can't put that stuff out. I don't want anybody seeing that. It's too embarrassing. Just find me.
He has headshots done just from Tinder alone.
Yeah, no.
So we have a viewer that said they can find you on Tinder at Bucky Badger.
Perfect. Badger. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Let's go check in with Hoppy. Hoppy, where can people find you?
Yeah, the Hoppy Mommy, Instagram, and Untapped. That's where I am.
No Twitter?
No, I don't. I made a Twitter account a while ago, and Twitter confuses me. I don't understand it. I'm too old.
It's an awful place.
There's too many hashtags and @s, and I have a hard time with the hashtags on Instagram. I can only handle so many hashtags.
More hashtags on Instagram than there's Twitter.
All right. Well, I'm going to cut it short because I got to piss really bad. So check us out. Follow us on social media. We'll see you Sunday morning, and I'm headed straight to the pisser from here. I'm not even going to lie to you. So
That's all right.
appreciate you guys joining us. Like us, follow us, share us. Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. See you next week or Sunday morning.